Okay, here we go. I'm going to say something really important, so pay very close attention. And hide everyone in the other room. I see we have a special spotlight tonight. Is that a new thing? Just my bright personality. Thank you. So, okay, great. So thank you for coming to PubTalk tonight. We have this every fourth Thursday of every month. And my name is Julie Harrelson. I'm the fund manager for Cascade Angels Fund 2015. Cascade Angels Fund 2015 is the second fund that is managed by Harrelson Group, my company. And we're in the process. We have an open application period for companies seeking investment. So if you're an entrepreneur with a launch stage company in Oregon, in any industry, please see me. And the other thing is, I always try to get around and meet as many people as I can. But if I haven't met you, please try and come to meet me tonight or maybe next time. There's a lot of people here, so we'll see what we get to. I promised you some facts and data every time that I'm up here, so I wanted to read you a couple of facts before we get started. One is, I want to talk a little bit about random events that set up companies for success. So I don't know if you knew this, but the guy who started Twitter, he had a very lonely childhood, and he spent his time listening to a police scanner. And that's what gave him the idea for Twitter. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty nice way to convert a lonely childhood. Another thing, a study abroad program in photography gave rise to the idea for Instagram. And here's a really funny one. The guy who had the idea for Netflix had a DVD that he forgot to return, and it had like a $60 overcharge on it. And he didn't want to tell his wife. And so I thought, I wonder if we could do this through the mail. So he took a bunch of CDs and he mailed them to himself to see if they would break en route, and they didn't. And he thought, this is going to be big. And guess what? Now we have Netflix. So just so you know, look for the random events, look for the clues along the way, and maybe you'll hit it big. I want to thank our title sponsors, Carnot Peterson, Columbia Bank, and our new title sponsorship group, Zolo Media. And our supporting sponsors, Jones & Ross CPAs, the COCC, Small Business Development Center, OSU Cascades, and new to supporting sponsorship, Ben Broadband. And I'd now like to introduce John Napier from Carnot Peterson to make a couple comments.
Thank you and welcome. Carnot Peterson is very proud to continue our support of PubTalk. As Julie mentioned, my name is John Napier. With Kurt Barker, I co-chair Carnot Peterson's ETIP practice group, which is short for Emerging Business, Technology, and Intellectual Property. Tonight's topic is a great one. Access to capital is a significant issue for many of our startup clients. And I want to give a quick shout out to Central Oregon Community College's Small Business Development Center, SBDC, and Steve Curley, who I believe is right back there. Raise your hand, Steve. Steve Curley is going to be an important person in my comments because you're going to be hearing later this evening about community public offerings in Oregon. And as part of this new rule in Oregon, a business wishing to do a CPO needs to first meet in person with an approved business technical service provider, a BTSP. Did I get that right, Steve? BTSP. Business Technical Service Provider, BTSP. As an attorney, one of the best things about any new law is the acronyms. So for CPOs and COCC's SBDC is an approved BTSP. So if that's not clear to anyone, what that means is if you're trying to do a community public offering in Central Oregon, you should talk with Steve Curley or let me know and I can put you in touch with Steve. There's some exciting things happening in Central Oregon related to CPOs, community public offerings. And I hope to have a chance to share some updates on those in future Pub Talks. Really quickly to conclude, there's a quick update regarding Carnot Peterson. After 25 years in our current location, we are moving. The move is happening the first week in April. We're going to relocate our offices to the 4th floor of the MODA building, which is right off the roundabout at the intersection of Wilson and Bond above the Old Mill District. We are very excited about the move. And with that, again, welcome. Thank you for attending, and enjoy your evening.
Thanks, John. I'd now like to introduce Gary O'Connell from Columbia Bank.
Thank you. I'm sorry to disappoint you in two ways. Number one, I don't have any initialisms or acronyms tonight to share with you. We have many in banking, but I'll spare you. My name is Gary O'Connell with Columbia Bank. I'm also going to disappoint you to tell you I don't have a shameless plug for the bank tonight, except to point out our team members here. We have Melissa Case, and I saw John Boylan, and Kristen Winterly is here somewhere as well. So over to my right there. So I want to take a moment to shine the spotlight on the Family Resource Center. Who's heard of the Family Resource Center? Show of hands. Okay, about half of you. It's a 501c3, started in 1988, and just think about it provides parenting programming, educational workshops on discipline, communication, relationship development, and so I'm on the board. I've had a chance to get involved, and I attended a class last week at the Alice Hatch Center, and what an impact it made. I want to tell you a little bit more about it. First of all, there's a few unique things about the Family Resource Center, so bear with me here for a moment, but again, it was founded in '88. The Family Resource Center received a 5-year grant from the OCF, which is Oregon Community Foundation, that extended our parenting education services to Jefferson and Crook counties. This is 5 years ago, and established us as the lead agency in the Tri-County area, and in OCF's efforts to build capacity and infrastructure to support parenting education in the region. So the point here is that we actually are part of what's called the Central Oregon Parenting Education Hub, which is about 25 agencies that are collaborating together. The Family Resource Center leads that effort. In the room also, in the back here, is the Director of Education and Outreach. Her name is Deanne Lewis. And Deanne, where are you? I'm blinded here, so I see a hand over there. So there's Deanne. Deanne is very inspirational. She manages the content and the programming. All the content is research-backed. It's really amazing. And I would say to you, if there's any misconceptions out there, it's that the Family Resource Center is for parents who might have a court order. They might have been sitting there by a judge. And I would just say to you that if you know any parents or you're a parent, and if you're not perfect, I know many parents and none of them are perfect. But, well, I should not assume. Do we have any perfect parents? So, but I know many parents who want to be better. And if you believe that parenting is the business of the community and makes for a more vital community, then you should find out more. So I'm going to tell you how to do that in just a moment. But the other unique thing about the Family Resource Center is this Central Oregon Parenting Education Hub is unique. It's the only organization with that structure in the country, and it's making a difference. And my point to you is that it's for everybody who's a parent or knows a parent or wants to have better parenting in Central Oregon. And so that's part of what makes this the best place to live, is that we have the outpouring of generosity from the community to support organizations like the Family Resource Center. So now I'm going to tell you how to find out more. So you're probably thinking, okay, here's another pitch. I don't have time to find out more about this, but I'm going to make this easy for you. There's a couple of upcoming events. Where are the art walkers in the room here? Any art walkers? Okay, First Friday, go down, free drinks, walk downtown. So there's an upcoming First Friday April preview party for our major annual event. This is the first Friday in April, and we're going to have an event called Focus on Families. All the finest photography in Central Oregon will be up for auction on April 23rd, which is also PubTalk night. So what we're saying is, before or after you come to PubTalk, come to the Focus on the Family event. And there's more information on your tables, but what you can do to help to find out more is talk to Deanne or talk to me tonight, or you can come to, mark your calendar, save the date for First Friday in April, or April 23rd, which is the PubTalk night, from 5:30 to 8:30. Both nights will be in the atrium at the Franklin Crossing. And come see the finest photography, find out more, and learn how you can help. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, And our last sponsor introduction, Carrie Stewart, from My Window.
I'm not Carrie Stewart, but I will introduce Carrie Stewart. I am the marketing person, Michelle O'Hara, who does the shameless plug for a wonderful television show that we have 5 nights a week on ABC at 6 o'clock.
Half of you have been on.
CBS at 7 o'clock, and COTV at 6:30 and 11:30. So 4 episodes a day. You should all watch it. And Carrie Stewart's going to tell you a little bit about the vision for My Window for Central Oregon.
Hello, everyone. And I wasn't joking. I've probably interviewed at least half of you in here. I'm the producer and host of My Window. And what we do, our show in a nutshell, if you haven't seen it, I should start with, if you haven't seen it, just turn on the TV, because odds are you will see it being on 4 times a day. It's almost ridiculous because it's always on, but it's on in the evenings, and it's a good little local show. I like to think of all things good about Central Oregon, and that's really the basis of our show. We're really not that chasing bad guys, chasing ambulance thing. We're more like chasing Brian Vieira and Amplian Research and going with it. And the great news for me is that the content in this town is great. And you know, I think we all move here because of the resources. You know, we all either grew up here and moved back, or you came here with a business and decided this would be a great place to start. And then you realize, because of the natural resources, all the, like the mountains and the rivers, and the fact that you have an office at Mount Bachelor, it's when you get here or you vet moving here, you realize that you have an equal and parallel set of business resources here. And from, you know, Brian Vieira, who I mentioned earlier, and EDCO and his stable of experts, I mean, where do you get that? And I thank you for rounding that up, first and foremost. BVC, another one, Founders Pad, which is phenomenal, a group of founders that killed it and went, let's get a pad and help other founders. So. Julie, another one, Cascade Angels, just funding people all year round. Thanks, Julie. Appreciate it. But like I said, what we realize is that we have kind of the best of both worlds. And for me, having to choose content, the talent is here, so that makes it easy. So I'm just going to leave with My Window's tagline is, it's me and it's you and it's us. And EDCO's new tagline, which I think is really cool, is move, start, and grow. So I want to toast, although let me grab my beer. Toast you all.
While she's down there, you can watch also on mywindowco.com.
So I think we should toast to everybody, because this room is about me, and it's about you, and it's about us. And there's really no other set of people I'd love to tell stories about or be part of, I'm very proud of, to move, start, and grow right here in Central Oregon. You guys are all kick-ass, and I love you all. Thank you for letting us do what we do.
Carrie and Michelle, I think you might want to start a comedy act on one of the stations at some point. Thank you so much. So this is really a great place. We have word from a great legal resource, great bank, the Family Resource Center, and excellent communications platform for what we're doing here. So thank you to our sponsors, really appreciate it. So we always like to do this, and if the EDCO staff could stand, these events are not really possible, and a lot of the goodness that happens in Central Oregon and the entrepreneurial community would not be possible without our EDCO staff. So if you could all please stand, I'm gonna name your names, and then we can give them a big round of applause. So Robin Sharp, the BEN manager, Aaron Riley, membership and events. I see you're not standing, please stand. I'm the MC, I'm supposed to be in charge, but it doesn't always work out that way. Caprielle Foote-Lewis, Sisters Manager, Brian Vieira, EDCO Venture Catalyst, Jesse Lord, Marketing and Communications Manager, Aaron Chiat, Operations Manager, and Cameron Neal, EDCO Intern. And last but not least, and I have to tell you, right now I'm in a mode with the fund where I'm out talking to lots and lots and lots of people. And I've heard so many positive things about the EDCO staff and specifically Roger Lee. So I'd like to invite Roger to the stage for a quick director's minute.
60 seconds and counting. Well, again, welcome to PubTalk. Hopefully you're feeling the entrepreneurial love tonight in our theme for this month's PubTalk. First, I'd just like to say we're really pleased to bring aboard some new Platinum members, and that means new board members for EDCO. We are uniquely positioned as a pay-to-play organization. And so I'll just start with Amber Yates, representing SGA CPAs here in Bend, recently upped their membership from silver to platinum. Other board members include Jeremy Groh with Combined Communications. They're an in-kind platinum member. Anybody hear any radio commercials for PubTalks in the last couple quarters? Yeah, they're great. And then Amy Tykeson was formerly with Bren Broadband, also joined the platinum level and is currently our president of the board for EDCO. Next, I'd like to, and by the way, we have some other new board members out there that are with long-standing platinum members that I think, Aaron, we've probably had about 10 new board members in the last period of time, last quarter or so. We have 46 on the board, so it doesn't mean the whole turnover. Next, I'd like to quickly thank some of you who attended our annual luncheon earlier this month. Your participation really pushed us over the top. We had, I think, 570 tickets sold. It was a great program, so thank you for supporting not only PubTalk, but everything else that EDCO is involved with. And as I mentioned last month, we do have an open position down on Lapine for a Lapine manager. Some of you may know someone who may be interested. You yourself may be interested. I don't know if I've seen him here tonight. Eric Strobel, are you in the room? I don't think maybe I saw him tonight, but Eric Strobel with BBSI is handling the search on that. And this is a little inspiration from Eric, those who know him. Just trying to be like Eric. And as we look forward to bringing on a new member in the Lapine team down there, it's with great sadness that I acknowledge that this is actually Cameron Neal's last PubTalk during his internship at EDCO. He flies out a few days before next month's event for Germany as part of his studies. He's been such a huge contributor here at EDCO for these past 8 months. Can't believe it's been 8 months. It feels like it's been 3. And I'd say a real ambassador by example for the internship program at OSU Cascades, one of our sponsors as well. So Cameron, thank you so much, and we're going to miss you. Yeah. Last but not least, I'm happy to report that business development activity at EDCO is as busy as ever. And it's very exciting to be involved with so many incredible companies in such a broad range of industries. I mean, it really is remarkable to see the diversity of companies that are here. It's not just tech, it's not just manufacturing, it's professional services and medical and bioscience. And I mean, it's hard to kind of go through all those companies. But it's interesting, and even the last week here, Brian Vieira was host to a new group forming around the food industry, specialty foods. And I think it's interesting because if you look back at history of the region, this really hasn't necessarily been a food production. You had companies like Eberhardt's that provide our local milk and cottage cheese and so forth. But it's amazing how many people have said, hey, I'm going to live in this area and I'm going to build a food company, even if I have to bring the food in from the outside. And so it's interesting to see with Brian getting that group together. We're excited. I think there's about 50 specialty food companies now in Central Oregon. Many of them are smaller, but some of them are larger and getting larger. So we're excited to see that happening as well. So look for more of that group. They are fired up. And with that, my minute is up. Thank you.
Hey, Brian, on that food cluster, if they have a board of taste testers, I'd really like to put my name in the queue for that. So wanted to just acknowledge some new members. Pronghorn, an auberge resort, is a returning member to EDCO, offering a variety of luxury meeting and event spaces, and they'll be hosting our board of directors meeting in September, which will be great. Cascade Relays, putting on this little relay that they call the Cascade Lakes Relay for a limited 600 runners. Orange Chair Supply Company, e-commerce consulting, Alpine Mortgage Planning, Angelica Olson offering export and international sales and marketing services, Aubrey Dental, an entrepreneurial dentist, Cascade Divide building a new data center right here in West Bend, Michael Sipe with Crosspoint Capital specializing in mergers, acquisitions, and business sales, Central Oregon Health Council, Education Framework, Inc., a startup SaaS platform in the education space. That's a really great array of companies. Thank you all for joining. It's just awesome. So I want to introduce our first speaker tonight, Julia Junkin. She founded Juju, an app that allows users to make their own emoticons and create customized graphics and other artistic works using a growing library of both free and paid-for content. And Julia and I actually figured out at BVC last fall that we knew each other way back when. I think it was maybe 20 years ago or 28 years ago, something like that. So it's been great to reconnect, and she's quite a talent, and I look forward to hearing from her.
Hi. So I'm here to talk about Juju, and I think I'll start with a quote from Einstein. And he said that creative imagination is the mark of all real advances that have happened in science. So, and I would add to that technology. So the first question for everyone here is, who has a smartphone in their pocket or on their body? Okay, cool. And who has sent a text within the last hour or hour and a half? Okay. So the industry's huge and is only growing. And, yeah, sorry. And so some cool stats are, by the year 2017, there'll be 2.5 billion smartphones around the world. And 1 out of 5 people around the world, including underdeveloped countries, will have a smartphone. And every minute, there are 8.5 million texts sent. So what Juju is, kind of the analogy of Juju is an Instagram for art. So it's it's a creative tool that allows you to create art easily and then share it, to have a tool for personal expression that's easy. So a lot like what the iTunes Store did for music, Juju does for art. And it allows you to play with other artists' art from around the world and create your own creation. I'll tell you a little bit about me before I go into the details about the business. So I've been a designer and an artist for the last 20 years. And I've combined the combination of creativity and creative imagination and painting with product. So I love the aspect of how you could bring beauty and inspiration and fun to a product. So you'd see my stuff on ceramics or linens or glassware or clocks or posters, and sold across the country. And it was awesome company to run, and we did really well. But when I went into my next adventure, I did a lot of creative workshops and working with people that would come up to me and say, well, I'm not creative, I'm not an artist. And I always thought it was so strange because, as a human being on the planet, we're all spinning on this planet that's going like 950 miles an hour, and we don't fall off. And we're like a sperm and an egg come together. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable that we're here. And we're imaginative beings naturally. But I think a lot of people don't remember that and realize that. And so that was one thing I noticed. And then the second thing I noticed was my children. So they were, obviously always on iPads and iPhones. And a lot of times when we'd be leaving the house, they'd be like, come on, you guys, let's go. And they'd be like, wait, I got to kill myself first, or I gotta die first. And I'm like, God, is that all right? Is that cool? And I know that we're not going to take them off of games, but my question to myself was, could we add value into tech? Could we bring heart? And could we bring art into the phone? So that maybe a little bit percentage of their time was taken in creating something unique, creating something original. And could we do that? So I have an amazing team that we created here in Bend, and kind of a group of designers. And as we started looking at that, the place that we looked was the creation of Juju. And so from my history, I've been a licensed artist, so I've licensed my designs to like 30 different companies, not countries. So I took that model and applied it to this business model. And so we've licensed artists from around the world. And right now we have 70 artists. So again, remember, iTunes Store for music, Juju is for art. So you're able to go onto Juju and discover all different kinds of artists. Our art manager, Natalie, who's actually here, has done all the post-production, so done all the hard work in creating a tool that you can easily grab people's artwork and create your own. And then you have the ability to share it. So one of the most important fundamentals of art and imagination is the willingness to share it with another person. That's in theater or song or art or TV shows or whatever we do. So with Juju, you share it. So you can share it in a message. And so that was kind of the area that we looked at as a kind of a problem to solve. And when we looked at messaging, messaging really doesn't have an ability. We all text, but we don't have a really great solution to emotional context. People don't always know what we mean in our texts. And the only thing that we use, that everyone in this room has probably either used or received, is an emoticon. An emoticon is, thumbs up, happy face, sad face, etc. And I mean, even from my programmer, I get, thumbs up or sad face or happy face to show me how he's feeling. And so we looked at that and we said, could we improve on that? Could we create something that would have more meaning and would be able to share, like if it's your mom's birthday or if you want to just say you love someone or if you want to say thank you, could you create something that would be really cool and create it pretty quickly? And I feel like we achieved that. We created a cool product that is simple to use and has a lot of cool content. How we make money is we sell content. So we have a large library of art that, again, like the iTunes Store, we give you free art, and then you can buy packs of art from anywhere from 99 cents to ultimately like $9.99. And then that dumps into your free library, and you're able to use that however you see fit. Then the other revenue stream is retail. So not only can you send that through messaging or putting in a live feed like Instagram, you can also create retail products. So you could create your own little Juju, and then you could apply it to an iPhone case or an iPad cover. Totally unique piece. Again, the cool thing about this company and the times that we're in for art and one-of-a-kind product is this was never possible until the last 6 years. Not possible, that you could have a phone in your pocket and find out about artists around the world, and you could create a one-of-a-kind product. Unbelievable, really cool. So those are two of our revenue streams that we're focused on initially. And then our third one that's really cool too is brand. It's like involving brands. So that, say someone like Disney could take Juju, we could dump our assets off of Juju, and Disney puts their assets onto Juju. So you have Cinderella and all the different characters. And then kids around the world can play with these assets in a visual conversation with that brand. And what really happens in art and creativity is when you play with things, it becomes, you become intimate with that. So it feels like it's yours. So it's a really cool way for brands to create a two-way conversation with their consumers. And so that's third revenue stream. As far as our team's awesome. We have several designers in Bend who's worked on the project for the last year and a half. And we have software developers across the world, actually. From the guy that has worked at Disney on gaming to the woman who got Hacker Award and Mashable from Apple. So we have some really cool people on our team. And let's see, highlights. Highlights for Juju. I was actually just in New York this week, and I was meeting with Adobe, which is a large software company. Am I at my 10 minutes? Okay, sorry. A large software company, and I was talking to them about being a consumer-facing product for Adobe. Adobe works a lot with, well, works predominantly with professionals. And I went to talk to them about Juju being an access point to children and to adults, which would ultimately lead them into the higher performing products that they have. And that was a successful meeting, and I think, you know, strategic partnership is possible and on the horizon with Adobe. We'll be adapting some of their product onto our back end so that if you are you want to be more advanced Juju user, you can use some of their products. And we're also at South by Southwest in 2 weeks. We're presenting, and so that's a big activation for us. And we also have a great, so I think that's it. So that's Juju.
Okay, this stand here, okay, have a Q&A.
Okay.
And I'm going to repeat the questions so you can just focus on the content.
Okay,
I'm going to
okay,
stand
okay.
over here and you stand here.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a few-minute Q&A, and I'm going to be repeating the questions so that Julia can focus on the content. So we have a question in the audience? Yes? What competitors are there out there?
Well, there's many. How I look at our competitors are more for time space. So I would look at an Instagram as far as something that you can create and then share. As far as exactly what we're doing, not really a lot of people. Emoticons are really our biggest competitor in messaging space. It really is a relatively untapped market, and it's not going to be for long. I mean, it's an obvious place. You know, Hallmark is like falling. You know, it's a $4 billion industry, and they're like falling because people are digital now. And, you know, we would like to capture some of that market. So that's who I would kind of say our competitors are.
Another question? Erin? Have you had interest from investors yet?
Yes, we've raised $850,000 in seed, and we're continuing on our raise. But yes, we've had a lot of interest. It's been awesome.
That's great. Yeah, Roger. So you've had phenomenal growth since you started. Where do you see the company in a year or two?
Okay, so here's my big vision. I would like it to touch the world. You know, I would like artists from around the world to know they can make money. We license their work. Every time you buy a pack, it goes to artists around the world. You know, we have a teen program that the teens can put their art on Juju, and they make money. It helps them understand that the imagination and creativity and art are not only valuable to our culture in the United States, which is underfunded art, right? But it lets you know that it's a valid place to put your time and a place where you can, you know, make a business. So I would like it to touch the world. I would like artists from around the world to be on Juju, and I would like everyone to either have received a Juju or made a Juju.
That's good. I just wondered, do we have questions from the other room, or is everyone in this room? Okay, great. So, Jared?
So, I guess, can you help me understand how it works? Are you creating a picture, like a Snapchat sort of thing, where you're seeing somebody? Or are you actually creating like an emoticon and you're adding in the text?
So are you creating a Snapchat, or you're creating an emoticon that's embedded in the text?
In a way, you're creating, we on our team don't like to say this word, but it's collage. So in a way, you're pulling from several different artists. We have the guy from Star Wars, we have a woman who designs for Barbie, to my work. And so you can take all those people's work and on the canvas of the phone, create your own piece. So and then you put that in a message, or you put that on the world feed, or you make an iPhone case with that. So it's really, the phone is your canvas, and you create your own messaging, and your ability to say happy birthday, or love you, or thank you, or whatever you want.
That's great. Okay, you already had, last question. Lauren?
Hi. Sounds great. Will you know that you've made it when Juju becomes a verb?
Will you know that you've made it when Juju becomes a verb?
Yes.
Okay. Will you stay here for a second? So thank you very much. So that's the end of the Q&A, but I do have one presentation I'd like to make to you before we go. So I don't know if you all know this, but part of the licensing for PubTalk is that it has to be held in a pub, and you can't have PowerPoints or audio-visual props. So I was thinking, as I was preparing for my role tonight as MC, that my name is Julie, and Julie's name is Julia, and that's a Juju, right?
Oh,
so
nice.
I actually brainstormed this a little bit with Carrie Stewart the other day, but so we made a Juju.
Oh my God, it's so cool.
And you put your face in it, and then, yeah. Good. So Juju is a verb, and it's alive and well in Central Oregon and across the world. I give this to you.
That's so cute.
My parents would be proud of what my art degree yielded. Okay, so shifting gears, not that much though, because thematically, did you have a question? The 850? Oh, we'll have to take that up later. I'm sorry, because our schedule won't allow it, but you can actually talk to Julia directly. It's a great question. So the theme tonight so far is beauty, right? There's beauty all around us, and there's beauty in Juju, and now we're going to talk about beauty and health. This is around detoxification and well-being, and I'd like to introduce Jennifer Clifton, who's the co-founder of Lava Love, a suite of clay-based products to detoxify the body. Jennifer?
Thank you. Have you ever noticed how sitting by the ocean or walking through a forest produces a sense of calm and peacefulness? Turns out there actually is a scientific explanation. Air is filled with either negative or positive charges called ions. Negative ions, which are found in the forest, mountains, and near the ocean, enhance our immune defenses and make us feel good. Positive ions, on the other hand, are free radicals, such as toxins, impurities, virus, and pollutants that lead to degenerative health, accelerated aging, and even cancer. This is the science behind Lava Love. Lava Love products have a negative ion charge, and when mixed with water, they bind and eliminate free radicals, toxins, impurities, and pollutants from the body. Lava Love is about consciously purifying the body. My name's Jennifer Clifton, and I'm a tax attorney here in town and co-founder of Lava Love. Lava Love is a line of clay bath products actually made from the volcanic ash from our Oregon volcanoes. We have 3 main products that we've launched with, and there's a few products on the table for those of you who want to take it home and try it. But we have the Lava Love Volcano Soap, we have the Lava Love Face and Body Mask, and then we have the Lava Love Bath Powder. All 3 products contain bentonite and zeolite, which I mentioned are from our Oregon volcanoes, as well as charcoal. There are other clay healing companies, but only our company combines these 3 elements. And a couple of things that we thought were kind of exciting. We were asked to participate in the Abe's Market Try for $2 program. And basically, we offered 200 units of each of our product, the face mask and the soap, to Abe's Market to do it in their program. And each of them sold out within less than 2 hours. And then also, we actually started sales in September of last year. And in December, we hit our gross sales of $5,000, which was kind of exciting for us. My co-founder, Elizabeth Dunham, she actually started Lava Love as a result of her own healing journey. When she was in her 40s, she had her 2 children, and then right after they were born, she was bedridden, and she couldn't get out of bed. She was diagnosed with Lyme's disease and heavy metal poisoning. So she tried Western medicine. It didn't work for her, so she took her healing in her own hands, and she became a nutritionist and through a vegan diet, and then also one of the protocols that she used was bathing in the bentonite clay, she was able to reduce the toxins in her body and heal her immune system. So she shared with me the detoxification and purification that she got from the clay, and I had my own health issues that I was dealing with, such as like PMS, exhaustion, just tired, run down, some perimenopausal. Never thought I'd be talking about that at PubTalk, but anyway. Symptoms, and she explained to me that my body could be toxic from being here on this great earth for a while, and that maybe if I tried the clay baths that it could help some of the symptoms I was having. And I tried Western medicine too, and so I gave it a shot. I had nothing to lose, and 3 weeks out of doing the baths, I was totally sold. I was like, you can ask my husband. I was talking about clay this, clay that, clay this, clay that. So that's voila, Lava Love was born. And in fact, yesterday I was like dead tired, bedridden, got this horrible cold. And I mean, it was like I didn't think I was going to be able to get out of bed, but I did. I slinked over to my bath and took a Lava Love bath, drank lots of water, and got the kids to school and work by 8 o'clock this morning. So I'm a real believer. Lava Love products use their natural properties to cleanse and restore our natural being. Bentonite, zeolite, and charcoal have been used for centuries by ancient indigenous cultures around the globe for their curative properties. We also know that modern-day physicians prescribe clay baths to their patients who need a natural way to detox. These clays come from volcanic ash and detoxify the body in a simple yet powerful way. Besides the science, according to global industries analyst, the alternative medicine sector, based on use of herbal and natural products that the public considers safer than medication, is expected to reach $115 billion by 2015. People in the U.S. are increasingly taking their health into their own hands. And I think a lot of the younger generations are a lot more open to alternative medicine treatments, even things like energy healing. And so our marketing strategy is to be the first clay healing company to build brand awareness and educate mainstream America about the healing effects of clay. And we want to be like the Dr. Teals of Epsom salt. So how do we do this? Most of our competitors are hippy-dippy. You can check them out online, like Redmond Clay. So our focus is to appeal to a wider variety of audience. We have successfully approached chains like Whole Foods and Urban Outfitters. Currently, we're in Whole Foods in Portland and Bend, and we're on track to go national. We are in the process of a rebranding. We decided before, because we're actually going to be doing a Kickstarter campaign, and I talked to a couple of trusted advisors that I have, and they said you can't go with the Kickstarter campaign with your current branding because you're going to leave a lot of sales on the table. So we're rebranding because the whole thought was that actually we were like our competitors, too hippy-dippy. So right now we're in the process of rebranding to expand to appeal to a larger market. And then we are also launching our Kickstarter campaign. It's due out on Mother's Day. And the 3 things we want to achieve by that are obviously raise capital. And then secondly, we want to raise awareness to people about the healing effects of clay. And then lastly, raise brand awareness. We are focusing on Bend, Portland, Seattle, and San Francisco markets first. We have our Kickstarter business plan in place that we're in the process of rolling out. Our team is comprised of me as president. I am a tax attorney here, and I also have a background in corporate transactional law. I've done a lot of private equity financings and public offerings. I've also started a couple companies in the past. One of them actually ended up on Oprah's Favorite Things. It was Smarties, a line of professional dolls, smart friends for smart girls. And my co-founder, Elizabeth, she's a certified nutritionist. She works with clients all over the world. She's in charge of product development. She's a former staff writer for the Oregonian, and she now writes the Healthy Home column for Oregon Home Magazine. And Judy Campbell of Campbell Consulting is helping us with PR and marketing and is instrumental to helping us launch our Kickstarter campaign. She and her team do national PR for Brooks Resources, Deschutes Brewery, and the Old Mill, and other brands throughout the Northwest. Lava Love plans to raise at least $25,000 in our Kickstarter campaign, set to launch on Mother's Day. We plan to do $200,000 in gross sales this year, and we hope to be a multi-million-dollar company within 5 years. We already have a very strong, loyal following of customers, and we have a lot of good products lined up for development. Please, so here's our ask. We'd like you to like us on Facebook. We'd also like you to take the products that we have here, try them out. If you like them, write a positive review on Amazon.com. If you don't like them, send me an email. And also, if you're interested, we'd really like your support in our crowdfunding campaign. So we left a piece of paper with you could sign your name and put your email on it. And we'd love to be able to send you updates about what's going on with our company and send you an update about the crowdfunding campaign. And it's on the desk as you leave. So thank you.
So questions? Yes?
I'm really interested in the pivot that you made for your Kickstarter campaign or your resume in terms of your target audience. You sort of alluded to some advisors. Just curious where you were and where you're going.
So I'm interested in the pivot that you made, and can you talk a little bit more about where you've been and where you're going? With Kickstarter. I'll say that as a...
For Kickstarter, with Kickstarter. Well, I think the thing is that we didn't realize the importance of actually the look and feel of the reward. And so we were more focused on telling the story. So when I got feedback from a friend of mine, actually a couple people here in town, and one of them actually has a following of like 4 million followers on Pinterest. And she said, I can't pin your product because it doesn't look as sophisticated as it needs to. So then we realized, oh, we really need to focus on the look of the product and make sure that it's very appealing so that women and men all over the world want to purchase it. Does that answer your question?
Anyone? Yes?
So on the table, there's two products here. One is the bar of soap, and the other is, I can imagine, just the clay, or it goes to mask. One is scented, and the other isn't. I'm just curious why. The soap smells bad.
So 2 products, one is scented and the other one isn't. I'm just curious why. Did I get that? Is that right? Yes. Okay.
The soap, there's miscellaneous products all over and different tables, but the soap is scented. It has a central organ scent that we have organic essential oils. We used juniper, lavender, cedar, and a little mint, peppermint. We didn't put it in the face mask or the body mask. The face mask is really going on the face, and we didn't want any kind of essential oils on the face except for just the pure clay.
Great, thanks. So one more question? Yes?
Where did you get the science behind detox with lava?
Where did you get the science behind detox with lava?
So there's a lot of scientific studies online. So once I had my own experience, then in preparing the business plan, once I decided to go into business with Elizabeth, I did a lot of research online. And I was kind of blown away with how much is actually out there. A lot of it talks about the use of bentonite and zeolite to remove environmental pollutants in different circumstances other than from the body. But it's I did it by doing the research online, I guess is the answer. And there are actual scientific studies out there about people who internally take the bentonite. And one of them that was really interesting to me was that post-Fukushima, that people who actually internally took the bentonite, it removed the radioactive ions from their body. And that was a scientific study.
Great. Thank you so much. And I have a small gift for you. And actually, each of the speakers tonight will get one of these gifts from Zolo Media. Michelle O'Hara bequeathed these to me to hand to the different speakers. So I wanted to make sure that you got one, and we'll get one to Julia and the other speakers as well. So thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate it. So just a short data commercial here. We have actually 3 women entrepreneurs speaking tonight, and I wanted to read you a few facts from a study. I gave you some fun facts before, and these are some kind of sobering facts. Between 1997 and 2013, the number of women-owned establishments grew at 1.5% the national average. And here's a really interesting statistic. Women-led, venture-backed companies bring in 12% more revenue than male-led companies. Just saying. Despite this, only 2.7 of all venture-backed companies have a woman CEO, and that number is 183 out of 6,517 companies, or 1.5 billion out of 50.8 billion invested between 2011 and 2013. Last month, I told you that 81% of entrepreneurs thought this would be a better year than last year, and so I just wanted to carry on the tradition of giving you some survey data so that when you go home you feel very informed. I thought that was interesting information. So I'd like to, a little change of pace now. We're going to have Garrett Lovell, founder of July 9, a growing brand that crafts reusable American-made totes right here in Central Oregon. So Garrett?
Going to lower this down a little bit since height isn't my greatest quality. I want to thank you guys a lot for having us here. We moved to town about 1.5 years ago, and it's been nothing but just amazing support from Central Oregon. I lived in Oregon my whole life, and I moved from Eugene, and nothing wrong with Eugene, but they're not as supportive as Central Oregon. So thank you so much for inviting us. I'm really excited to share our brand and what we do, and just a little bit about where we're headed. So my name is Garrett Lovell. I started July 9 in 2012. I majored in engineering at Oregon State, industrial engineering and business entrepreneurship. I am an avid Duck fan. I am married to an alum from Ducks country, so kind of both sides of that. So anyway, so we started in 2012. I have a background in sewing. I've been sewing for about 20 years. I started making kites as a kid, and I thought, after college, I want to do something really creative, and I've always been an entrepreneur, so I decided to start a business. I made bags. We started with 1 sewing machine in my parents' garage. It was a big, heavy industrial machine. Now we've grown to 6 machines. We have 3 sewers and staff working for us. My first project was a canvas bag that I'm not proud of now, but our bags are a lot better. My first pitch to a store took 2 minutes. I heard a song on the radio I liked. I went in, and I got to come back and finish the song, actually, on the radio. And now we're in, now we're in 75 stores worldwide, so things have changed a lot. We've done some custom projects for a small ad firm called Wyden & Kennedy. I didn't know who they were until I showed up. They have a small client that we did the work for called Diet Coke. I had heard of them. And then we just recently did a project for Sorel Boots up in Portland area, so we've done a lot of custom work as well. For me, I wanted to make a brand in America. I wanted to be made in America. I love this country. I wanted to contribute to this country. And so for me, it came from a strong sense of pride. I know that a generation ago, a lot of things were made in this country, and they're made to very high quality. And then as economies changed, we took it overseas. So I wanted to play my role and bring that back. We do make everything we sell now here in Central Oregon, so that's a real pride point too. But also on that quality point, for me, if I was going to make something, I want to make it right. That's just who I am as a kid growing up. And so America gave me that opportunity, because it wouldn't be I'd send something away, wait 6 months for it to come back, open the crate and go, shoot, we screwed up. But like, we can at least make it in-house and go, hey, we're making a mistake, let's fix it right now. The other thing about American manufacturing is a lot of us who make things here know that there's a lot of disadvantages, and the big one being cost. Cost is probably 10 times higher. However, you get 3 times the output from American workers, so you can do the math on that. I'm not going to do it. But with that, it shortened our lead time a lot. So those companies that we had done custom work for, that allowed us to do big runs for big companies and small runs for small companies as well, simultaneously. Had we been manufacturing overseas, none of those would have been possible, because we'd have to set our plan, stick to the plan, and then hope that plan worked. With that inventory reduction, it gave us a higher cash flow, some basic math working out there, which meant that we could buy all of our machines cash. We have financed nothing in our business. I'd like to talk to some people about how to finance a business because I've paid for everything cash, and it's been quite an adventure, but it has been very rewarding. So what's made this growth possible to sell thousands of bags worldwide and take these big contracts has been this little bag right here. It looks like a little tuna can. We call it the sushi sack because it rolls up into a little sushi roll. And I can't take credit for that name. My wife came up with the name because we were rolling them up. And the story for that goes is, so there I was at the Gap clothing store. I was with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife. So we know it's a great story because it ends well. And I was buying socks. And in Eugene, they decided to ban plastic bags. And it wasn't one of those, we're going to ban it, and then about a year or two later, we'll implement it. It's banned, and they're gone. And so I'm at the Gap, and I'm buying socks. And I had like an armload of them. And the girl asked, hey, do you have your bag? And I said, no, I don't have my bag. Do you guys have one? And she goes, well, Gap hasn't got them in yet, so I'm sorry. And that was it. So I shoved it in my jacket, and I shoved it in my pants pocket, and I kind of walked out feeling a little like a dope, I guess. And so I went home, and I thought, you know what, I really do need to make reusable bags. People have been saying it for a while. I didn't like reusable bags because all of them were cheap, they were flimsy, they were all made overseas, and I felt like it was it was a great idea for the environment, but I felt like I was being punished by a bunch of people who made this law, like, you have to do this now, you know, freedom of America, and you're gonna do this kind of a thing. And so that night, I had a late night design session in the garage. That engineering background came through quite quickly. And I came up with the geometry of this, and it's basically just a roll-up bag. You unroll it, and it opens up to a tote, and that's it, and it rolls right back up as easy. My test product has always been my grandma, so if she can roll it up, I figure 95% of the population can roll it up. She's a smart lady. I love her to death, but you know, that's statistics for you. So, so we had this project, and it looked good, and people liked it. And I thought, you know, okay, how are we going to get this out there? How are people going to know about this product? Because obviously we have something that's unique. There's nothing like this on the market. There's a lot of stuffed sack ones, and a lot of them you throw in your trunk and forget about. But how are we going to market this? And I've always liked Kickstarter, and I like that you shared what you shared about Kickstarter, and I'll confirm a lot of what you've done or going to do. And we've ran 2 Kickstarters. We've done more than $60,000 in funding on them. Our first one funded in 62 hours, and it was the wildest 30 days of my life. It was so much fun, and we overfunded that one by 4.5 times. But we thought, you know what, Kickstarter, this is cool. Kickstarter's a great thing for it. But the one reason you should do Kickstarter, and it's not for money or things like that, it's for brand exposure, and that's it. Because 59% of Kickstarters fail. Most people don't know that. But all of them get brand exposure. So if you have a great product and you don't meet your funding, you're still going to get it in front of 1,000+ people, and you're still going to sell it through your website, and you're still going to have lots of opportunities and connections made because you've made that brand awareness viable. And your marketing ideas and changing it are spot on. Like I think you're going to do great on your Kickstarter, so I'll nudge my wife like she's going to be great. So keep it up. But with that overfunding problem we've had, and a lot of us see those Kickstarters going, wow, they did $10 million, and I'm tracking one right now that did $10 million in 12 hours. It's just unbelievable. Is you have this thing called the Kickstarter hangover. You can't Google it. You won't see it on any forums. It's kind of this thing we talk about in our little circles under the table about this hangover effect. And that's you've made no plan of how to fulfill that. And so now you got this awesome problem of like, wow, we made thousands of dollars. Oh crap, now we gotta ship like 10,000 units, and we don't even know how to print a label. I mean, you can't, could you imagine licking 10,000 envelopes? You can't do that. So what's your plan? So we had this plan of, okay, we got 100 bags, we have 10,000 bags. If we go past that, I'm smart on my feet, I'll figure it out. But we had at least up that level. And so, yeah, we overfunded it big time, and our plan was to contract these out. I found a great house in Springfield, Oregon. The guy manufactured them for us, and what that gave me is it gave me immediate capacity, so I didn't have to have a team lined up for that. It gave us immediate expertise on how to put it together, so I could design it and say, yeah, that's kind of what I want, put your spin on it, let's do this right. And then it gave me the time to then start hunting down wholesale contracts immediately after we closed. So we oversold by about 10%, so then when that thing ended, I could then start selling these things immediately to wholesale. So then when I spent that 2 months fulfilling projects and burning up all that capital, spending it on materials and shipping costs and things like that, I still had a business when it was all over. Some of us have probably seen the Coolest Cooler. It's the highest funded project on Kickstarter. Come back next week, it probably won't be. There's the Pebble Watch 2.0 is out right now. I looked at that and everyone went, wow, that's amazing, $13.3 million. And I went, yeah, that's 13.3 million things you have to ship. Like, how are you going to do that? Good luck. So, I mean, it's great, but there is a huge problem with that. And so when we pushed into that wholesale immediately, it gave us a business, and we did ours in August. We shipped by November 5th, which was our last day for shipping. We shipped everything on time. Our last Kickstarter shipped out last week, and they're on time as well. And so from there, we have now done large contract orders for wholesale. So my dad's always told me that an opportunity is when luck meets preparation. And so we were very, very lucky to have the opportunities that are presented to us. But we prepared immensely for that. We put a Kickstarter together. We have a good website. We're written up on blogs. We have good photography, nice design. And so when that luck came around that these huge distributors said, hey, we like your product, can you make X amount? I foolishly said, yeah, of course we can make that much. I can do that. And we hadn't even made that much in a year. So now what we're doing is we're producing a lot for exporting. 90% of the stuff we do is exported. So all of our jobs are going overseas, and we're sending all the product back. We just sent 4,000 bags to Japan last month. 4,000 of these sounds like a large number. That's 800 pounds. I mean, we're talking a pallet. And they all had to load in my little Volkswagen and take them to DHL. It was like low riding. So, you know, that's a big number. And we couldn't have that produced by a contract person because they didn't have the capacity for it either. So I had to make this tough decision going, okay, I've promised this, how am I going to do it? And I love over-promising and then figuring out what to do. And I decided to bring it all in-house. I decided to buy up machines. I decided to train people. We went from my parents' garage to now my garage, which is half the size, and it's we have plans for the next future of that. But yeah, so in the last 5 months, we have manufactured in-house 5,000 bags, and that's here in Redmond, Oregon. We hire 3 people, so we're looking to expand past that. Those 5,000 bags, by the end of the year, we'll pull 500,000 plastic bags out of circulation if they use it as infrequently as I use mine, because I don't grocery shop a whole lot. I should be better about that. So these big contracts now are leading to exclusive rights deals. So when people ask what's the size of the market, it's like, well, I don't know. California banned plastic bags, Hawaii banned it. Japan loves us to death. They actually flew over to Portland and had a meeting with us one-on-one about how can we fulfill more products. And they want an exclusive rights deal for the entire country of Japan. That's 130 million people who like our stuff. South Korea, we're in negotiations right now for an exclusive rights deal to South Korea, the entire country. And so these opportunities will give us immense opportunity to grow. That also, as many of you experienced business people know, that's a great time for a business to fail. You grow too fast, you're going to fail. And we have luckily not lost a single contract while we've done this growth, and I'm backward and beyond. I'd love to give you all free products, but I sent them all out today, actually. We had another big order came in, and I thought, I can give them away for free, or I could sell them. I think I'll sell them. So the plan now is, what's the plan? We had a plan for Kickstarter. We have a plan for this. We have purchased property. It's zoned for a building. We're going to build a building on it. We're looking for expertise on architecture and other things that go with buildings, things that we all know. We're also looking for sewers. I mean, we are looking to hire more people. We want to really just crank it up here in this town. We're also looking to increase distribution. Like I said, 90% of what we do is overseas. I want our domestic sales to increase. So that means locally here in Bend. We have one store that's kind of doing some stuff. I haven't had a lot of time to do that. We're hiring a brand manager because we need consistency on both continents. We need consistency for all of our current customers, and we need help getting future customers. And we're also looking for this town, since we are investing so much here, to embrace us and have the name July 9 be synonymous with Bend, Oregon. It's synonymous with our great craft breweries. It's synonymous with Hydro Flask. So we want people to say July 9, they go, oh yeah, that's a Central Oregon company. So that's kind of what we do. I hope I didn't talk too fast for you guys, but that's kind of how I move. So I'd love to answer some questions, talk to you guys later afterwards.
Great, thanks, Garrett.
Thank you.
Garrett? Okay, can I get on this side?
Yeah, you can get on that side.
Thank you. Okay. I'm right-sided. Yeah, in the very back, David?
Yeah.
Do you have any other products in mind?
Yeah, I kind of glossed over that, sorry. So we do make more than reusable bags. I have our canvas weekender here. It's an all-leather weekender thing. We are also, my goal with July 9 when I first started was apparel and jackets. I'm an avid snowboarder, and so I love outdoor jackets, and so to do an outdoor jacket right, it takes a lot of time and effort and materials. We've sourced it all. This spring, we're going to come out with our first line of hoodies and pullovers and stuff like that, and I'm hoping by this fall we'll have our first outdoor jacket, which will be unfortunately extremely high-end, but it'll also be probably one of the nicest jackets you'll own, and it'll use the Imperial Stockyard wool from Maupin, Oregon, so that'll be all locally sourced as well on that end.
It's full of money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yes. Is there anything that is sewn? Is there anything that is sewn that you cannot sew?
Like myself personally, or just in the industry? I mean, Yeah, oh, yes, I see what you're saying. So any product that is currently manufactured of textile goods and assembled with using thread, even not thread, yes, we could do it all here. I do see a lot of manufacturing coming back. The manufacturer who used to make our bags and we partnered with, he actually has so much work from one brand that he had to go exclusive with them and drop it. So I'm seeing a lot of that work come back. It's not a hard concept to make things with fabric and thread. We've been doing it for a millennia or more, and so yes, anything that is made overseas can do it. The thing that you will probably not see in America is a lot of things that have a lot of intricacies because it's all time. That's one of the byproducts of why our design is so simple. It's because it takes time, and time is money. So that's the only limiting factor is how much time you want to put in a product. But yeah, you could make anything here. There's nothing that's limiting. The only thing it might be is potentially EPA and environmental laws if it's a certain process. Leather, for the most part, is not tanned in America. It's tanned in Mexico or Brazil and then brought over. So.
Well, lots of questions. How about over here?
There are a lot of reusable bags out there. And when you're calling on a client and showing them your product, what is it about your product that convinces that client that you pick your product over everything else?
So there's a lot of reusable bags out there. When you call on a client or a potential client, what is it that makes them want your bag over others?
I think what does set us apart is obviously the design. Ours is, I didn't set out for this, but we are the high-end market leader. We're probably the most expensive bag I've ever seen. But I think when people like it, they like that it is something you actually want to carry. There's a lot of them out there that are those polypropylene ugly ones you get at the grocery store. You leave them in your trunk. This one fits in your pocket. It fits in your purse. I keep it in a cup holder in my car. And so I think when people, why they want our product, it's because something they actually can use. We have a new one now that we're doing. It has a zipper and an adjustable strap, and a friend of mine unclipped it and slid it through his bike seat frame and clipped it back on. And so now he's like, commuting to work and back, he's got this bag right under his seat, and it's that portability and unique design, and then the high qualityness as well, I think is what people shoot for. We have done a lot of customization, like I said, and this is branded with the Made in America, and so we've branded it with, Sorel, or we do Gifted Youth is an ad firm in Los Angeles. We do a lot of bags for them that are branded that way. So that's also something that people like, is that we do have that customization option.
Yeah, right back here.
Real quick, two-part question. So you talked about the environmental aspect. Are any of the products recyclable? And then manufactured in the USA, are the materials from the USA?
Are any of the materials recyclable? And they're manufactured in the U.S. Are the materials also from the U.S.?
None of the products we currently have are recycled products. They're all new purchased material. We have had a lot of questions from people. I even had a guy with a hot air balloon company ask if I wanted his balloon to make bags with. And we do like that repurposing stuff, but for manufacturing purposes, that takes a lot of time and effort to break down those things. So if you have new products, it's a lot quicker and more efficient. This is 100% canvas and leather bag, so technically if you left it outside for a while, it would probably dissolve back to the ground. A lot of our products, we try as hard as we can to source them in the United States. So on this bag, it's thread, it's tags, it's the snap. But like I said before, with EPA stuff, nylon, if you want nylon and white, you can get it all day long in the US. If you want any other color, it's got to come from Taiwan because we can't dye it here in the United States based on the EPA regulations.
Okay, great. Hey, thanks, Garrett. I appreciate your time.
So one last thing, if you guys put your drinks down, your hands up, I will toss out a few.
Fantastic. I love American ingenuity. It's awesome. So our keynote speaker tonight, we have another few minutes of presentation from Lauren Wallace. I've known Lauren for a few years. We've worked together on angel investing and entrepreneurial work in the Portland area. Lauren's last name is Wallace, and it's spelled S-M-A-R-T. She has a deep background in providing legal services, consulting, and coaching for early-stage companies. She's served professional roles for global brands, including Apple and Microsoft, in legal and operational roles for startup brands and community organizations, and was chair of Angel Oregon in 2014, Portland's smaller version of the Bend Venture Conference.
Yeah, that's real nice. That's a real nice introduction, Julie. I will get you back for that. Well, I was going to say thank you, Julie, and what a great introduction from a wonderful friend, and I'll think on that for a minute. But I do know that Julie is a tremendous advocate for economic development in Central Oregon. She is the pride of the high desert, and I'm just glad to be introduced by her tonight. I want to thank all of you for being here. This is my first Pub Talk, so it's a delightful crowd, a nice room, nice to be in Bend today. So many thanks to EDCO for inviting me to come talk tonight. Great organization. As Julie mentioned, oh, actually, Julie didn't mention. She didn't mention that I have a new gig. Actually, just 2 days ago, inked the deal to bring my practice over to Tonkin Torp, which is, I think, a pretty well-known law firm in Portland. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. It's a leading Oregon law firm with a 40-year history of representing businesses in Portland and the Pacific Northwest, strong local roots, and a fierce devotion to the community. Tonkin lawyers combine a unique Oregon commitment with extraordinary legal skills, experience, and expertise that clients might expect only to find at a national firm. And the Entrepreneurial Services Group, which is one of the groups that I'll be joining and working with there, has decades of experience representing investors and entrepreneurs in this entrepreneurial market that we all so love. As companies grow and mature and move a little bit further down their life cycle, Tonkin also provides M&A, corporate finance, IP, and other specialties to provide ongoing services. So I'm very excited to be joining them and being able to offer so much more to clients and colleagues in this market. As Julie did mention, before joining Tonkin Torp, I've been a technology lawyer. I was the operations chief at a small software company called Avatron up in Portland. I've done business development and corporate development for companies like Apple and Microsoft, and I ran Angel Oregon last year, which gave me a lovely opportunity to meet a lot of friends in the room tonight, and also so many wonderful companies around Oregon, and it's been a great process watching them grow over the last few years. And it was great to meet the new companies tonight, and I really look forward to watching them grow too. And I'm just excited to take part in the Bend boom generally, and help folks understand a little bit more, although I don't know how I can really build on what Garrett taught you, about how crowdfunding plays into the growth plans of a company. I think Brian invited me to speak here today because of my own experience running a crowdfunding project at Avatron last year. But so many great projects have come out of Bend, including July 9, of course, the 2 successful crowdfunding campaigns, and everything else from a documentary about log rolling champions of the 1970s. How cool is that? To, of course, vacuum-sealed growlers for all the great local beer. So I'm sure I could learn a lot from talking to Bend entrepreneurs about the campaigns that they've run here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Lava Love's campaign under whatever new name it comes out a little bit later this year. So tonight, mostly we're going to talk about the life cycle of a Kickstarter campaign, but because I'm a lawyer, I want to say a few words about the difference between donation crowdfunding, which is a program like Kickstarter, and equity crowdfunding, which is emerging, and we heard a little bit about it earlier tonight. In equity crowdfunding, people that contribute to your campaign become investors in your company, and they take a permanent, and we hope eventually transferable share in your company and its growth. In donation crowdfunding, people that contribute to your campaign become customers. So it's a pretty significant difference, even though they really share this common name. I think it's confusing. And these customers eventually, in theory, receive the goods or services that are offered in exchange for the premium that they contributed. Unlike donation crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding hasn't really taken off just yet. Even though the 2012 Jobs Act contained a lot of provisions for equity crowdfunding, the SEC has just been agonizingly slow about putting these programs into play around the country. So a lot of states, 26 now, including Oregon and Washington, have their own community funding programs. Generally, a lot of the laws are like Oregon's in that they allow a business in a state to raise money from investors in that state, subject to pretty significant limitations. But they do let you bypass registration with the SEC, which is a very costly and time-consuming process. And they also mean that you don't have to limit your funding to checks from accredited investors. So that becomes the crowd part of the equation. In theory, it's a great development. Eventually, it may lead to an outpouring of both capital and goodwill for companies that keep their fundraising close to home. And I think that's a meaningful part of the activity, is to keep the brand really lively in the community that it operates in. But for the moment, the rules are largely untested, and they do have some significant challenges, including the low dollar limits and some significantly burdensome reporting requirements, which I think will make them hard for specifically the type of community companies that might be most inclined to raise money this way. So there's a little bit of a cross-up, I think, with the intent of the plan and the ability for people to actually carry it out. I'm not writing it off just yet. I think there's definitely an opportunity there, but as far as I know, and I checked in with colleagues at several other firms up in Portland, none of us really have clients that are running programs, running campaigns through the Oregon Equity Crowdfunding Program yet. It sounds like there may be more activity, though, here in Central Oregon, so I definitely would like to hear about some equity crowdfunding activity that's happening here. So that's equity crowdfunding. It's a way to get capital into your business without delivering anything besides the promise of future capital growth. Donation crowdfunding, on the other hand, requires a much more immediate promise to deliver actual goods within a very short time frame. And while the model has tremendous promise, certainly for companies like Coolest Cooler, which raised $13 million from 62 backers, and from the Pebble Time, has anybody been watching Pebble Time? So Pebble was one of the first huge Kickstarter campaigns a couple of years ago. They had a little trouble with fulfillment, but they got a huge brand boost out of their activity. They just came out with a new campaign that raised $10 million in its first day, its first 12 hours. $10 million. So there have been some huge campaigns, but I don't think there's ever been anything like Pebble, the second Pebble campaign before. So they raised that $10 million from 50,000 backers. Well, that'd be something with 50 backers, wouldn't it? From 50,000 backers. So they're getting a pretty high premium at the lowest level with Kickstarter, and we'll talk about premiums a little bit later on. But there are pretty some significant risks and challenges to running a Kickstarter campaign. As Garrett mentioned, 59% of campaigns don't meet their goal, and they can lead to that Kickstarter hangover. So we're going to talk about that more here tonight. I have my own experience, of course, running a Kickstarter campaign. We did successfully fund, but it was a grueling experience. But I also wanted to reach out to a number of other Oregon companies that have been through the process and get some comments and some insight from them, and I'm going to share some of those with you tonight. And because I love a snappy aphorism, I came up with an expression that I hope you'll take away with you tonight and use as you plan or evaluate future crowdfunding campaigns. So I'll explain. My dad's name was Pete, and Pete was a Navy man, and Pete was a firm believer in the principle of continuous improvement. And he shared with me his formula for getting a job done and getting it done right the first time. Lauren, he said, no, this is a big guy, he had a deep voice. Lauren, he said, never forget the 7 Ps. Proper prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. Proper prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. The 7 Ps. And those 7 words could not be more applicable to a Kickstarter campaign. There is no amount of preparation for a Kickstarter or any kind of crowdfunding campaign that is too much. Because once you press the go button, once the ball drops and that 30-day clock starts ticking, there is nothing you can do but react. So I like the 7 Ps for Kickstarter, but I thought actually I could go old Pete one better, and I came up with my own 7 Ps for Kickstarter campaigns. You ready? Pitch, promise, PR, premium, process, performance, and far and away the most important, passion. So we're going to talk through those 7 elements, the 7 Ps of Kickstarter campaigns now, and I'm going to illustrate their impact with some of the really great and pithy comments that I received from other entrepreneurs who've run their campaigns through the program. So first, pitch. Pitch, this is the whole package. This is the website and the video. This is the thing that you press the go button on and hold your breath. It better be good because you are competing for eyeballs even before you start competing for money. There are a lot of other worthy projects out there at the same time on Kickstarter, and you're also, besides Kickstarter, you're competing with Reddit, you're competing with BuzzFeed, you're competing with whatever championship game is on that week. So what makes a successful pitch? That's like the $13 million question. It's hard to predict, and honestly, sometimes the big winners and the surprising losers seem totally random to me. But I think the winners have a few things in common. They have a focused pitch, which drives towards a single outcome. The outcome that they drive towards solves a problem. It is offered at the right place and time, especially if the product has any element of seasonality to it. And this is really important. It appears to be likely to succeed. So there's kind of a recursive component to the likelihood of success. It is driven largely by the appearance that it's likely to succeed. So good luck with that. But what that really means is that it shows signs, it shows signals of being a quality project. And there are multiple signals about the quality of the effort in its totality. So again, the video, the pitch, the quality of the writing, the care that appears to be chosen in selecting the premiums, so many components that are signals of quality. And those signals of high quality attract early backers who act more like investors than they do like the casual backers that come into the project later on. So those early sort of quasi-investors are going to make the assessments of your project more like a regular, an angel investor or VC or any other money would. They're going to look at the quality of the team. They're going to look at the kind of projects or products that the team has come out with before. They're going to evaluate the market size and the fitness of the program, the product that you're designing for the market. Really some pretty dry evaluations. But if they like it, if it looks good to an investor mindset, then their early backing can start to create the kind of network effect that can ultimately go viral and move you into the sort of stratosphere of Kickstarter success. So your pitch has to succeed with these early assessors before it can gather that kind of steam. And so investing in high quality video and high quality copywriting is super important. I read one study that correlated the number of misspellings in a Kickstarter campaign with its likelihood of success. And you know what? It was really right there. I mean, it was a correlation, you can't say for sure, but it appeared evident that actually did drive some reduced likelihood of success. So the most important element of your pitch that is under your control is the video. So I wanted to pass along this wisdom, and this is where we're going to get into some of the other entrepreneurs. This is from Mitch Doherty at Built Oregon. I don't know if you guys have seen their Kickstarter video, but it is just so beautiful. Like truly, I choked up the first time I saw it. The imagery is beautiful, and the spirit of it is so beautiful. So this is what Mitch said about your Kickstarter video. Take your time, script it out, and do it right. Seriously. Your video is what people will watch, especially if you have a long page of copy. We could have just shot the video primarily in PDX and used stock video snippets of other parts of Oregon. But by scripting out the vision first, we realized immediately that what we wanted to build on Kickstarter and beyond needed a more in-depth and compelling story. So we took our time, drove the state, and we got 40 people and 30 companies into the video. That video will define you, so make sure what you show is what you're going to deliver. So what are you going to deliver? Number two, the second P, promise. I think Garrett spoke really eloquently to this before from his own experience. Unlike other ventures in a crowdfunding campaign, the learning about what it takes to deliver follows, rather than precedes, the promise to deliver. That's crazy. To start a business, to pre-sell a ton of products, before you know how to make them or get them out into the market. But of course, you know, a lot of people are doing it, and it seems to be working out pretty well for some. But since you don't know what you don't know, how can you tell if your promise is grounded in the real world? How do you even know what it's going to take to get those 10,000 or 100,000 pieces out? Do you know what it will cost to manufacture, create, or deliver those goods? Can you cost them at the different scales that might be the outcome of a Kickstarter campaign? You don't know, is it 10,000 or a million? How quickly can you pull the production trigger if you do end up succeeding in your campaign? And what kind of upfront costs are you going to have to do so? Can you throw down the cash that you need to turn the line on so that you can get those 100,000 pieces out? Can you, your company, handle storage and shipment of the goods? If you're in your folks' garage, you may discover that 100,000 pieces is a lot to store there and mom's getting a little sick of it. And can you scale your process if the campaign blows up, you know, of course, in a good way? And this can be significant, as we'll see when we get to one of the later Ps. So Lynn Lee of Society9, which is midships in their Kickstarter right now, but they funded pretty early in the game. They make specialized equipment for female MMA fighters, female boxers, and people who train CrossFit and use that kind of equipment. So here's what Lynn had to say about the promise. Make sure, and she sent me that in caps, make sure you have your product development process going already. It's okay if you still have just protos or phases of protos. If you have your final sales samples done and it all literally takes is a push of a button to go on a production order, great. But whatever the case, product development needs to already be going. That way you can manage transparency with your backers and they feel like they're on this journey with you. And I thought that the language of managing transparency was really pertinent there, that you can't tell an honest story about what you're doing until you're doing it. So, it gives you just so much more credibility as you go into the process to have a production plan that is robust and that you really think you can execute on because you're a certain way into it already. And even the Kickstarter handbook itself suggests pretty strongly that you underpromise and overdeliver and give yourself some breathing room besides, because they've seen that these overpromising can lead to real difficulties for the companies after they get through the process. So, number three is PR, press, and social, and we've heard a lot about that tonight, and I'm really impressed to hear about the Kickstarter campaigns here. I think you mentioned that you were working with PR in advance, before months before you get out to the gate, and I think that is super important. When you see the amount of press that a hot Kickstarter campaign can generate, it's easy to think that if you build it, they will come. But in reality, the process of preloading press has to start literally months and months before the campaign launches. Bloggers and mainstream writers in every domain are completely inundated with press releases every day. And it can take multiple contacts and a lot of inside networking to get their attention. Once you have their attention, you have to fit in their editorial schedule, which can also be planned out months in advance. And then once you launch, you have to keep the ball in the air, so you still have their attention, so they'll keep writing about you as the campaign goes along. And all this takes so much more time than you ever think it will, and is totally white-knuckle to the finish. So Adam Smith, who ran the DI Floral Grid campaign last year, had this to say about press. Don't assume that early press will lead to more press. The first day of my campaign, I achieved nearly 35% funding. I was pretty confident that with recognizable names already promoting the campaign, plus a decent amount of early funding, I'd be able to drum up a lot more press once the campaign was live. I was very wrong. The rest of the month was a slow and grueling march to the finish. I did get some smaller outlets to promote the campaign, but nothing very substantial. Bottom line, don't underestimate a PR person's desire to break news. So once your campaign is already going, it's hard to get people's attention on it then. And Matt Stormont from Together Farm, which has a great consumer product for building kind of a Lego bricks that you can use to build a garden in your yard or in a container. He ran a campaign last summer. Said he took time prior to launch to ask key supporters for help if need be. I called upon these strategic supporters at plateau points during my crowdfunding to help keep the momentum moving forward. At the time, I didn't know if this strategy would work, but it did. So next after PR, probably more important in the long run, is social media, and especially Facebook. A Wharton study from last year found a strong correlation, like a really strong correlation, between the number of Facebook friends in a founder's account linked to a Kickstarter campaign and the success of that campaign. So it's no surprise that Coolest Cooler's Facebook page has 84,000 likes and very active updates. Exploding Kittens, you guys know Exploding Kittens? Card game? Crazy. Has 109,000 likes, and Ouya, which is a console kind of game, has 102,000 likes on their Facebook page. Those levels correlate really closely to the number of backers that each project ultimately receives, sort of in the volume order of the number of Facebook likes that they have. But the process of launching that Facebook presence, you know, that started a long, long time before the Kickstarter campaign ever began. So here's Adam Smith from Floral Grid again. He said, I learned the hard way that not all social media is created equal. I actually pushed my launch date forward because I had commitments from Sunset Magazine to promote my campaign. I didn't want to miss out on their offer because I was sure that this single bit of promotion would be my biggest driver of backers. Ultimately, they promoted the campaign via Twitter, which in my opinion now is completely worthless in actually driving action and traffic. Even with a huge audience, and I can't imagine how big Sunset Magazine's Twitter audience must be, I didn't get more than a handful of click-throughs from Twitter. Almost all of my traffic came from Facebook and blogs. If I had to do it over again, I would focus specifically on getting featured blog posts, which would then be shared via Facebook. I got big bumps from a couple of bloggers, and their fans not only supported my campaign, but they shared it with their networks as well. So it seems like the lack of misspellings and having a whole lot of Facebook supporters are really great indicators of how your campaign might do. The fourth P is premiums. Your reward should be simple and offer some kind of value or connection to the project, and they should be cheap and simple to source and fulfill. Wacky rewards may lead to additional press, which can drive traffic to your campaign, so that's a good thing. But beware of complicated rewards or too many premium levels in your campaign. It just confuses things. Mitch Dory from Built Oregon's had this to say about premiums. Sure, make them fun, but also know how much you want to raise and which buckets you foresee getting the most support and drive rewards to those buckets. So again, really thoughtful planning about the premium part of the campaign. I had a section on process, but the fifth P is process, the experience of actually running the campaign. But I actually think you all learned everything you need to know about it from seeing how these bags got produced and out, and the kind of terrifying but super exciting experience of getting through the process of running a campaign. But it's a pretty exciting 30 days. The 6P, and this one is super important, and again, we talked about it a little bit before with the bags, is performance. This ties back to pitch and promise. Can you really perform the promise that was included in your pitch? Did you raise enough money to fulfill the premiums as well as perform whatever the project was that you were initially pitching? Keeping in mind that your billing processor is going to take 5% on top of Kickstarter's 5%. And if you're paying a PR agency and you also end up paying a fulfillment house, the costs of actually fulfilling your campaign can start to get quite high. Most campaigns do end up having some delays in fulfillment, about 75% of campaigns, according to the Wharton study, and most of them do end up fulfilling their promises to backers. So it just takes almost everybody longer than they thought they would, but it's certainly their intention and the outcome that they do fulfill their campaign. You mentioned Coolest a little before. They came out at $185. They sold 62,000 pieces on the website or on the Kickstarter campaign, a whole lot more than they expected to. They recently announced that instead of shipping in February, the product would come out in July, and they justified that delay by adding a ton of really cool improvements to the product. Like, it wasn't like, gee whiz enough already. It's an amazing gizmo now, and it's got all kinds of crazy more stuff on it. But their bill of materials has to have gone way up. They still have to fulfill the $185 promise. So this may end up costing them, a great deal more than they turn over from the ultimate campaign. They're in good company, given that 75% of companies do end up having some delays in their delivery. But I imagine these are some heart-pounding times over at Coolest HQ trying to get those products developed and shipped. And since we're talking about heart, let's go to number 7. Number 7 of the 7 Ps, which is passion. By far the most important element of the crowdfunding campaign. Why is it so important? More than any other branding project you'll ever do. Because you're not just asking people to give your product a try. You are not just asking people to support your cause. You are not just asking them to help your company even make its next payroll. You are asking them to have faith in you. And that requires authentic devotion to your cause and the kind of powerful communication that can only come from the heart. So I'm going to give you the last quote from a founder talking about her Kickstarter campaign. Again, this is Lynn from Society9. She said, you have to know the heart of your brand because the key of your brand connects to your consumer. That is because the heart of your brand connects to your consumer. That is the key reason why we got allies in so many different communities. Real women, real fighters, both pro and non-pro, who are ready to step up and help us succeed. I'm not just talking pro fighters, but allies everywhere. The heart has to be defined by core values and a key mission. You have to live and breathe by this credo. The first product I ever created for Society9 was actually our brand manifesto. Whatever we create, a hoodie, boxing gloves, it doesn't matter. It needs to ooze this. So I don't know what I could possibly add to improve on Lynn's words about passion and bringing heart to your project, so I'll leave it at that. My heartfelt thanks to the Kickstarter friends who told me about their stories, to you guys all for coming out and hearing them, and to EDCO for providing a forum to talk about entrepreneurial activity in Central Oregon. So go forth and crowdfund, have fun, and never forget the 7 Ps.
So you want to stay up here with me and we'll do just a couple questions? Great. So we have time for just a couple questions. Erin? What's the number one legal risk that an entrepreneur might face with crowdfunding?
I'm not sure it's totally a legal risk, although it totally, of course, could lead to legal risk, which is overcommitting, which is overpromising. I think that is a tremendous brand risk, and that is probably the worst impact of the inability to fulfill the promise that you made to the backers, and the kind of if you imagine that your number of Facebook likes is correlated strongly to the amount of success that you have in your campaign, and then you don't succeed at fulfilling your campaign, that is just going to be such a pervasive impact, I think, on your brand overall. Kickstarter does have a provision for refunding money to backers for campaigns that never fulfill, but like never is a long time. I don't think anybody knows how that might play out. There are also risks to people who overexpose intellectual property in a Kickstarter campaign. You can pre-announce activities or behavior that you probably later on wish that you wouldn't. It can have impact on a patent portfolio. You can discover that you are using a trademark that already belongs to somebody else, and you've really gone wide with it. So again, that was part of the preparation, I think, is to look at overexposure in a lot of different modalities.
Are there sensational failures on Kickstarter that have turned into great companies?
Well, if I had time. But Pebble actually does come to mind as being a company that looked like it might turn into a sensational failure after having a tremendous, very successful, and I think the highest profile launch at the time, looked like they were never going to be able to fulfill. And I think there was a certain, I think that people were a little incredulous about the promise that they had made. So the fact that they finally did come out, and now that they can run the biggest campaign ever in the first 12 hours, I think may be the best example of your question. Well, their first failure, yeah, but they haven't fulfilled their second promise yet either. So, and there's 62,000 pieces in the hole right now, so we'll see.
One more. Roger? Oh, great. Yeah, so love the real world examples, and we have Nick from Drink Tanks here. And Nick, would you like to say anything further about that?
She covered everything I would recommend, actually.
Okay, covered everything that you would recommend.
Good answer.
You know, Shakespeare said brevity is the soul of wit. I think you just embodied that. That's awesome. Great, thank you, Lauren. And I have something for you.
Oh. So it better be hand drawn. Oh, well, it's hand poured, right?
So this is I think I'd call it a tankard. And this is, you can come to any PubTalk and it will be filled every time that you come. So
it's a magical tankard.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, great to see you. Awesome. So thank you all for coming tonight. I have a couple of closing comments. One is, over the last couple of weeks, I have had the privilege of attending the EDCO annual luncheon and the tech forum here and the PubTalk, and talking really to, it seems like hundreds of people in the area about our entrepreneurial efforts here. And one of the things that really struck me over the last few weeks is the opportunity that we have here and the abundance of opportunity that we have. There was a speaker at the tech forum who talked about advances in technology related to cancer treatment. And I was thinking tonight about, many of us have had issues, challenges in our lives. Some of us have had cancer. Some of us know people that have had cancer. Probably all have had friends or family that have had this experience. And I use cancer as a way of talking about problems that can be solved through entrepreneurial efforts and through innovation. And one of the things the speaker said was that it's gotten a lot easier to treat cancer, but finding durable results has been the real mystery of cancer. And I feel like one of the things that really inspires us as entrepreneurs is that we live in that space where there's between opportunity and challenge. And our optimism brings those two things together so that we can actually solve issues, create opportunities where there was none. And so I wanted to just take a minute tonight and express my gratitude for being able to be involved with such a bright, intense, focused, passionate group of people in Central Oregon, because I think there are so many things in the world that need to be solved, and there's so many opportunities in the world to be taken advantage of. And this is our moment to do that. We're on a real upswing, and we have, in this community, we have the three legs of the stool. We've got the network, we've got the access to expertise, and now we also have capital available to invest. And that's really the three legs of the stool that people are talking about statewide. But one of the things that we have here is the seat of the stool, which is the livability of our communities, the strength of our schools, the intensity of our intelligence and creativity that we can bring to this. So I feel a lot of gratitude, and I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that at the end of our evening, and to challenge us all to bring forward our best to what we have to face, and to take those risks that bring a better place to live in a better world. And a couple of just small announcements. The Small Business Innovation Research SBIR Lunch and Learn program is returning to Bend on March 13th. Learn how to compete for SBIR STTR funding at this grant writing workshop. And I know that the state of Oregon and is really putting some emphasis on this, so there's money available for these grants. And then don't forget that the PubTalk will be here at McMenamins through June, and I really look forward to seeing you here next month for a great program. Thanks for you all for coming, and safe travels home. Take care.